man has fallen into the river in
What?
Lego City.
Oh my
Start
god.
the new rescue helicopter.
Oh my, yes, please, rescue
Hey,
him.
build the helicopter
Build it, yeah, fast.
and off to the rescue.
Okay.
Prepare the lifeline.
Yes, yes.
Lower the stretcher.
Oh my
and
god.
make the rescue.
Oh
the new
my god.
emergency collection from Lego City.
That was so close. That was so close. I'm glad Lego City has a very good emergency services department. Oh my god. Lego City is very good. I guarantee you, if this happened in any other city, it could have gone really bad. That man could have drowned. He could have drowned if it was any other city. But luckily we were in, it happened in Lego City. That's good. Anyway, welcome back to the TrueCast. It's me, Dr. True, and I bring you a new and updated TrueCast. Last episode, I mentioned it. I was working on improving things, and possibly I would have updated it. Like I've uploaded a new episode with video footage and stuff, but I wasn't sure if it was gonna happen last episode or not, and it did happen in the end. But this is, the episode where now it's 100% official, Like from now on, you can expect the TrueCast to have background footage of me playing video games. I think it makes it a little more interesting. There's more stuff, to see. If you're on YouTube, if you're on Spotify, I guess it's still the same for you. So you should check out the YouTube if you're listening from Spotify. In any case, it's not even like you're not missing a huge thing, It's just some, let's call it stock footage that I record from when I play games. Because, as I mentioned quite a few times, I'm a very busy guy. I study for college this year, but next year I might go to uni. I work out, I go to the gym, I train. And when I finish all of this, I obviously want to spend some time with my girlfriend and sometimes playing games as well. And obviously, I don't have as much time, to record the videos and the podcast. But, I can still record some footage from when I play games, the games I play for fun, and I can show you something, guys. It doesn't have to be a whole video about it, like a proper gameplay video. That's gonna take me longer, obviously, because I gotta comment on it and stuff. I mean, it's not like it's hard, but I think, we all want to spend some time to ourselves sometime. So, figured when I do that, I can at least record something for you guys. I'll put these gaming videos, this, stock footage on the podcast, and now you got something to look at, and it's nicer, The games you will find, as I said, they're usually what I play on my free time to have fun. So you'll see a variety. Okay, you're gonna see quite a few games. At the moment, I'm putting on Dragon Quest XI. Pretty good game. I'm enjoying it a lot. I'm having a lot of fun. A few weeks ago I was playing Y2K, and I almost got footage of that, but this whole upgrade to the channel was a bit slower than I would have wanted, and by then, on my free time, I had already finished Y2K, and I was like, it doesn't matter. Next game I'll record, next thing I play, I record it, whatever game it is. So that's how you got Dragon Quest XI, which, like I said, it's pretty good. And, it's not just the videos that are extra. As you can see, I also reworked the TrueCast branding. Well, sort of. Because I would still like to get a new profile picture for the channel. Don't get me wrong, the heavy is nice, but something more branded, I guess. Something more unique, something that screams, this is Dr. True. I don't know exactly what to do yet, but I know that in the future I want to do something a bit cooler. And maybe it will be just like a big T or something, but that feels a bit, well, not boring necessarily, but it feels like it lacks something, you know? So I'm definitely still thinking about it. Definitely I want to seek more improvements to the channel. Even the banner art, kind of want to change that as well. Though I might end up just putting up, you know, this same background you're seeing, the TrueCast background. Just, you know, big, and maybe instead of TrueCast it says Dr. True. I don't know. I'll think about it. I'll find solutions with time. Actually, I got a lot of friends, you know, giving me tips. It's just that not all of them are easy to implement. Some of them I kind of don't have as much time, I guess. Oh, well, I mean, it's a hobby project anyway. And like I said, I'm a busy guy. So I need, after everything I do, I need some time to myself to relax. I can't be working all the time, which actually makes me think about, you know, recently, I've had a discussion about a classmate of mine. I won't make names. I mean, it's not even important, but the point is, yeah, I've got a classmate that thinks about studying all the time. And obviously, studying is good. Okay, honestly, guys, put a lot of effort into it. Study, you know, it's an investment into your future. Same with working, you know, put effort in your job, please. Even if it's a stupid job, you know, or at least you think it's a stupid job. You know, something simple like just stocking up a storage room or stocking up shelves in the supermarket. You know, these are not the kind of jobs that save lives, let's say. But I think you should still put effort into them. And besides, these jobs can also be important. You know, just because you're not saving a life, that doesn't mean your job is useless or anything. I think there's still value into that. And I think you should still put effort. But at the end of the day, you also need to remind yourself you are not a machine, okay? Like, we are human beings. We evolved to, you know, let's just say, our ancestors in caveman times, you know, they evolved to maybe go hunt for, I'll say maybe 2, 3, maybe 4 hours a day, you know, stalking prey, waiting for the right time to attack, and then, you know, rush the prey, spear them. I mean, that's probably not gonna take 3 or 4 hours, but, you know, spending a good amount of day hunting, then spending a good amount of the day foraging for fruits or edible mushrooms that won't kill you, you know? So definitely, we evolved to do stuff, yes, 100%, but if you think about it, what else were our ancestors gonna do? You know? Once you got lunch and you got dinner, that's it. You don't need anything else, right? In caveman times. And probably they did lunch and dinner together. I'm assuming they ate like at 3 or 4 o'clock, you know, whatever. But the whole point being, I guarantee you, our caveman ancestors did not spend their whole day, 10 hours a day, working, you know, hustling. They didn't. The human being is just not meant to do that. Some of you might be more enduring, you know, you might have more willpower to do stuff, and you might do better in these, you know, harsh conditions. You can work for longer hours and not get too tired or too stressed. But I think most people need a break. Most people should not be working that much every single day. This hustle culture, I find it a bit toxic, if I gotta be honest. But yeah, the whole point is, this classmate of mine, my god, he studies all the time and always thinks about finding a job and working and stuff, which he needs the money, I understand. Economically, he's not doing that well, but, you know, like, he became the kind of person that only ever thinks about study and work. And I think about study and work a lot too. I put a lot of effort into studying as well. But at the end of the day, I got hobbies still. I got a nice podcast. I got, I play games. And so my life is sort of more complete-ish. I don't spend it all stressing about stuff, And pretty sure my mental health is doing a lot better for that. I had like a really bad mental breakdown a few weeks ago because I overworked myself way too much. Like I had a total burnout. So I think it's just healthier to also take care of yourself a bit. Work hard, but take some time to yourself too. And that's my positive message to you guys. We don't have to be machines. But I guess I got really distracted. The whole point of this, in any case, was that, yeah, I've updated stuff. Maybe there's a few things I would like to do to improve the channel even better. But I realize a lot of things are kind of hard. I will need a lot more time, especially because I need time learning. But I'm always open to suggestions. And as you can see, I'm always improving. I do think this new podcast background is a lot cooler, honestly. I mean, nothing was wrong with the previous one, okay? I think it was alright. But that one I kinda did it a bit in a rush, because I wanted to get started with the channel and the podcast. And so did the thing, wasn't really sure how to do stuff, wasn't even using many of the programs I'm using now. So it was kind of a rushed job, let's say, but it was still decent, I think. This one, however, the resolution is higher, so it doesn't look as grainy. It looks cooler in general, but most importantly, I think personally, it's got more personality. Like finding that Crash Bandicoot style font that says TrueCast. Oh my god, was such a stroke of genius. It was so good. Because, personality, because gives more of a vibe of PlayStation 1 almost, digital PlayStation 1 thing. And I love Crash Bandicoot. It represents me, I kind of want to go, in the future, if I get some good amount of money to invest, I would like to give more of a PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2 kind of vibe to the podcast. Because that is basically the gaming era I grew up in, and the two main consoles I grew up with. It was PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2, and the Nintendo DS as well, to be fair. But even though I played a lot of Nintendo DS, as far as aesthetics go, I kind of see myself more into that, PlayStation 1 and PlayStation 2. Which the PlayStation 1 style is more defined, I think, mostly because it's more different. It's low poly, but it's like lower poly than PlayStation 2. The PlayStation 2 is just, I guess you can see it's old, but it doesn't give you that same level of nostalgia, I think. But it might also be, honestly, that it's just a matter of time. I remember if you go back like 10 years ago, I don't think there was much nostalgia for the PlayStation 1. And it makes sense, obviously. The PlayStation 3, I think 10 years ago, was still going, but we got PlayStation 4 a few years after. But this big nostalgia for PlayStation 1, you'll see online, you'll see games in the style of PlayStation 1 and stuff. It's usually horror games that are done in that style. I guess because the PlayStation 1 sort of has a liminal feel to it, especially if you consider the hardware limitations that, kind of force you to put empty spaces, mist, like fog. Like Silent Hill. Think of Silent Hill. That is very liminal. And I think maybe that's one more of the reasons why the PlayStation 1 has like a stronger aesthetic. Like we see it as a stronger, more what's the term? More easy to define. Yes, more defined. And yeah, well, nostalgia. Yeah, it kind of started around 5 to 6 years ago, right? That these kind of things, nostalgia for the PS1 started becoming a bigger thing, more popular. But that's because the people that grew up with the PlayStation 1 became older and, started getting into their 20s to 30s, maybe a bit older than 20s, more like mid 20s to 30s. They were getting older anyway. And I think now, if you give it time, the generation that grew up on PlayStation 2 is slowly getting older. So it wouldn't be too unlikely, I think, in the next few years. Could be next year, could be this year, who knows, that we'll start seeing some PlayStation 2 nostalgia and PlayStation 2 styled graphics coming back. Which again, they're more defined than PlayStation 1, they're like more modern, but you can clearly see that they're still old. You can clearly see older resolutions, less detailed textures. The models not gonna look particularly low poly, but they're also not gonna look detailed, So yeah, I'm thinking it might come back soon, or it might not. I don't know. But something I want to talk about, since I mentioned this cool Crash Bandicoot font, is that I grew up with Crash Bandicoot. That's why I feel like it's more personality, and it brings you guys closer to me in a way, because Crash Bandicoot was a huge part of of me growing up. It was one of my first gaming experiences. And I mean, I wouldn't shape me to the man I am today. Every time I say that, that's kind of a joke. It's just a game, and Crash Bandicoot doesn't have like some huge, deep morals or anything. At the end of the day, it's just a guy defeating evil, but doesn't really teach you lessons. But it was still pretty important for me growing up, and that's why I'm happy, to have thought about such a cool font that represents me as well. But in any case, enough dilly-dallying, enough stalling. It's time I tell you why Crash Bandicoot. So when I was a kid, I'm gonna start from the beginning. My first ever gaming experience technically was bootleg NES consoles, or maybe it was SNES. I'm not too sure. I need to Google it, because obviously there's difference, but we're talking about consoles from like a generation before I was even born. So for me it's harder to tell the difference, obviously, because I didn't grow up, with following the evolution of consoles that are this old. But let's say SNES, that's more reasonable. Bootleg console, and it had like 20 games, 27, whatever. Like once I had the 27 game console, then at one point I think I had the 1,000 games in one console, and it was literally like only 20 games, but they repeated forever. I remember a game where you were Pikachu and you had to save Miss Pikachu. I don't know. Again, it's bootleg. Donkey Kong 1, pretty sure I had that. With Mario, I think it was called Jumper Man or something back then. But, with the hammer, destroying the barrels, jumping over the barrels. Donkey Kong 3, which is when you have Donkey Kong Jr. trying to defeat Mario. You play as Donkey Kong. And the original Super Mario, which was very nice. And a reskin version called Super Panda Mario. But these are just some of the games I played back then. So this lasted for a few years. I think I was 3 years old. That's when I started playing games. And I probably kept playing this until maybe I was 5, maybe. And eventually, I think it's because the PlayStation 2 came out. My brother obviously wanted the PlayStation 2, and after that didn't really play PlayStation 1 anymore. So I got to play the PlayStation 1. And that was kind of my jump forward. for a long time I will play demo games, but if I have to be honest, I don't really know why. I can't really tell you why. I remember I only had access to basically 2 demos, maybe one demo. Like it was a disc with multiple games inside, but were all demos of the games. And so from that, I remember playing Tombi or Tomba. I think it released as Tombi for American audiences. And I think it was only Tomba in Italy or Europe. I played Medieval. Such a good game. I love Medieval. It was amazing. The first Medieval, amazing. And the second one was okay as well. It was nice, but the first one was better. And the big guy, Crash Bandicoot 3. Yeah, it was a demo for Crash Bandicoot 3. And I remember that clearly because it was Crash Bandicoot in the Middle Ages. And, one of the enemies was one of the clones with the two-handed sword. And when it hit you, Crash will be like, cut in half. And the top half will be left floating. And, like his legs will just go away. And he was very annoyed. And that was kind of funny. Crash Bandicoot always had funny cartoon deaths. That's how you say death. But yeah, that was my first ever Crash Bandicoot game. And I think it was actually the first game I ever played in that demo. Then another one that I loved was Warzone 2100. Such a good game, that as well. So I spent many hours on this demo. I will try to optimize my strategy because, different demos also had different rules. Because, for example, the Crash Bandicoot 3 demo, you had as much time as you wanted, but it was only a single level. While the Medieval demo, you start in the first level, skipping the opening cutscene, start first level, and I think you have maybe a 15 minutes timer, but you can play as many levels as you want in that 15 minutes time. So, I mean, if you were a speedrunner, maybe you could still finish the game. I'm curious actually. I'm very curious. Probably. I don't see why not. It didn't seem like there were any limits, just the time. After the 15 minutes passed, the game will go like all dark. It would have like a transition where everything will start going dark. And then I think it said thanks for playing or whatever, or buy the full version. I don't remember. But we're here to talk about Crash Bandicoot. I think that was probably my favorite demo because I think I kept asking about Crash Bandicoot. And eventually my parents bought Crash Bandicoot 2 for me. And that was the first full game I've ever played. And let me tell you, Crash Bandicoot 2 is amazing. It's 100% better than the first one, which I never really played. I only played like 4 or 5 levels on emulator many years after. But I find the first one to be way too hard. They really made it impossible, at least for me. While Crash Bandicoot 2, now that's a lot more fair. That's not as hard as the first one. Then the third one, I think it's a bit harder again, but again, not as bad as the first one. So, yeah, played Crash Bandicoot 2, finished it. Not 100%. I think I never finished 100% because I didn't really know how to get all the gems and stuff. And it's not like I had access to internet back then. I mean, my brother did, but I never got access to his computer. So I couldn't really get any information online. And we didn't have smartphones yet. Yeah, I'm one of the OGs, basically. After that, I think eventually I started begging for another Crash Bandicoot. And I think I was just begging for Crash Bandicoot 3. But my parents got me Crash Bandicoot Team Racing, which is not the third. I don't know why they got me that. I think they might have gotten it for me, maybe it was a birthday or Christmas. And maybe they just didn't know anything about games, and so they got confused. But hey, at least it was Crash Bandicoot, you know? They didn't get, I don't know, Suck Dick Dicoot or whatever, you know? It was him. It was my boy Crash. And Crash Team Racing was amazing too. Another amazing game, which I also didn't complete 100%, but I was getting a lot closer to that. I was like 90% or something, you know? And here's the thing, the more I think about it, the more I don't understand why I was only playing with these games. When my brother also had, we did have other games in the house. I'm assuming my brother was just worried I would like break the games, like the CDs. The CDs nuts. That's funny. And I mean he had reason to be worried, I guess. First of all, I was 5, maybe 6. Let's say 6. So first of all, the age, I was still very young. Second of all, I did delete all of his save files for all of his Final Fantasy. Final Fantasies, all of them, all the save files, all deleted. Yeah, I guess I was like playing a prank on him, but I didn't realize completing one of those games 100%, which he basically did 100%, takes like 100 hours at the very least, probably. So yeah, he was mad. The liberal was fuming, I guess. Well, the liberal, take this, liberals. Yeah, am I right? It's called dark humor, liberals. Oh my god! Oh no! Oh. I regret that, because obviously I realized after how bad it was, and it was really bad. So yeah, that happened. But after that, maybe when I was 7 or 8, I think I was trusted with the other games that weren't, directly mine, the games that were his. And so I got to play more games. I played Legend of Dragoon, which was very good. And he gave to me for Christmas, I remember. So actually, it was my game. Okay, well, I played Crash Bandicoot 3 eventually, so I can tell you it was harder than the second one. Although as a kid I don't really remember it being that hard. Now it just feels hard when I play it as an adult. But it was a lot of fun. I loved it. Especially I loved the theming. Because you travel, in time, you go in the past, but also the future. And so every level has that special theme where even the enemies are themed. And there's different mechanics. You got special moves that you unlock as you go forward, defeating the bosses. That was definitely felt like the refining, of the Crash Bandicoot formula. It felt like the most evolved version of Crash Bandicoot. It was very good. And I mean, I also played other games. Okay, eventually I did play the Final Fantasies as well. I remember playing Glover. And like I said, I played other games, but I don't really remember which. I guess they weren't as memorable to me. I did play the full version of Medieval eventually, and not just the demo, and I loved it. But yeah, and I kept playing that for a while. I mean, I think when I was 8 years old, maybe 9, I got the PlayStation 2. Because at that point, my brother wasn't as interested anymore, because he had his computer and just started spending a lot more time on the computer. So that freed up the PlayStation 2 for me. And so I started playing the PlayStation 2. Eventually even got the Nintendo DS. I mean, my Crash Bandicoot adventure kinda kept going with the PlayStation 2 because I did have Crash of the Titans, which kinda bad redesigns, not cool. I mean, I also played Crash and the Wrath of Cortex. You know, that PlayStation 2 Crash Bandicoot game that was awful. And I remember not loving it as a kid either, but I was okay-ish with it. So I played that. I played the Crash of the Titans. And like I was saying, the redesigns, they were trying to be cool and stuff. The redesigns were kinda not great. I could have avoided the redesigns. But the gameplay, that was fun. It was a really fun game. Especially was fun playing it with my friends. I had so many good hours playing it, you know, and even if it was, I think, only 20 levels, but the levels lasted quite a bit. You could play, the same level could last 15, 20 minutes, you know, so long levels, they were fun. It was fun to, you know, to tame the Titans, and I love that the gameplay will change, because they have different movesets. Now, Crash's moveset, he had quite a few moves. It wasn't that important though, because he kinda packed less of a punch. You couldn't really stagger enemies much. I mean, a bit, but Crash was definitely weaker than the Titans. But once you got on one of the Titans, you know, you weaken one and you got on top of them and you command them, the Titans deal so much more damage. They can parry attacks better. They have special moves that charge with time or charge as you hit enemies, and there's a very good variety of mutants as well. You know, every section of the game, every region of sorts, they always included a long range mutant, and then maybe 2 to 3 regular melee mutants. Then maybe every now and then you'd get a huge mutant, like a big one. There were very few of them, but they were pretty fun to play. And, you know, you would slowly unlock new skills for Crash, but again, mostly the cool part was the mutants. That was mostly why you would play it. And like I said, it was tons of fun. Then I also got Crash Nitro Kart, which was also pretty good, you know? I think maybe Crash Team Racing was better, but Crash Nitro Kart, you know, it was a pretty good game still. Definitely much, much better than the Wrath of Cortex, or whatever it was called. I remember even played Crash Bash as a kid. But I kinda remembered it fondly, and yet, some time ago I watched a Kadikarus video where he was talking about it, and apparently that game is torture. It's terrible. It's extremely painful to play, apparently, and I had completely forgotten about it. I think for the good part I played a demo of it, maybe that's why I forgot about it, because the demo will obviously only end in the earlier levels that are easier. But yeah, I played a lot of Crash Bandicoot games and didn't play all of them. I mean, until I was 14 or 13 or something, I didn't even know Crash to Insanity existed. I only know of it from a friend of mine that said, oh, there's a game where it starts, the way the game starts is Cortex tries to disguise himself as Coco to trick Crash. Like that sounded like a fever dream. And the thing is, this guy always lied about stuff because he thought he was cool, you know? He was so cool, he did things that he never absolutely did, obviously didn't do. He had things, you know, he had games and stuff he obviously didn't have. So I never believed him. Then yeah, I discovered that Crash to Insanity was a thing. And it's also kind of a rushed, half-broken mess, apparently. That's sad. But yeah, I played the good Crash Bandicoot games on PS2. And I played the best ones on PS1. Like I said, I didn't really play Crash Bandicoot 1 much, but honestly, Crash Bandicoot 2 just feels like a better Crash Bandicoot 1. That's it, you know. I'm not gonna back down. Haters, you can hate me, whatever, but you know I'm right deep down. No, actually, you know, as always, you guys, if you prefer one, you prefer that one. That's you know, that's alright. I'm not saying you shit. It was cool. It just was too hard for me. Yeah, I'm a little baby. I'm a little baby bitch, I guess. I can't play the game, whatever. I need to get good. And all of that. But, that's it. That's it about Crash Bandicoot. That's more or less everything there is to know. I kinda wanna play Crash Bandicoot 4. You know, honestly, I will play the remaster as well. The Insane Trilogy. Just to see, you know, how good they did it. Maybe I'll play it one day. I guess I'm a bit less interested about that. But Crash Bandicoot 4, it's about time. I kinda wanna play it. Now, I don't really know the system requirements, but see, my computer is pretty bad. So that's why I just figured, whatever, I'm not gonna play it. Maybe one day, who knows? But here's the big news, I'm getting a new computer. So maybe I will be able, I mean, probably I was able to play it anyway with the old computer. But who knows? Now that I'm getting a new computer though, I don't really have any other excuses. I guess I gotta play it. I mean, will be cool to play anyway. Kinda wanna check if it's expensive or not. I'm assuming after a few years now the price went down quite a bit, I hope. So, might play it once I get this new computer. And if I do, you'll probably know because I'll probably, you know, put it as stock gameplay footage in the podcast. Or I might actually bring gameplays, but that's less likely because I feel like it will be a long game. And I'm already struggling with finishing the Five Nights at Freddy's series, like the Return to Bloody Night series, because I end up not having much time. But who knows? Who knows? In any case, yeah, new computer. That's very cool actually. I'm excited for it. You know, when I was spending money on it, when I was looking at the pieces, deciding what to get, I was not as excited because I was thinking, oh god, I'm gonna spend so much money. And in fact, I am spending 1,200 quid, which is, I mean, for a computer of like mid-level computer, I'm assuming it's a normal amount to spend, because they did get more expensive with time. But, you know, in general for me, felt like a lot of money to spend. I have the money, I just kinda didn't want to spend it, because I think, you know, what if I need that money for other stuff, instead than spending so much money on a hobby of mine, just playing games. But at the same time, it is my only hobby. I am gonna spend this money probably once for the next 5 to more than 5 years. So it's gonna last me a while. Gonna get a lot of use out of it. And besides, I'm gonna end up going to university for, I mean, if they'll accept me, if I manage to get in. But if I manage to get in uni, gonna study computer science most likely. And so obviously I'm gonna use the computer for studying computer science. Now, they have computers in the uni as well, and I'm more likely to use their computers, because this way I can study at the library and focus better and stuff. But there's still a very good chance that I'll use my computer at home too, to study when I need to study for longer hours. And not to mention, this old computer is kinda giving me some trouble already. I mean, I've had this for 5 years. But yeah, sometimes it doesn't load properly, like it won't load the system properly. Sometimes slows down a little. And I mean, to be fair, I've had it for a while. My current computer, I bought it in April, I don't know which day, like maybe first week of April 2019. And now, you know, as I record this podcast, I look at the time, the date, and today is the 31st of March 2025. So if you guys think about it, you know, pretty soon, in just a matter of days, this old setup of mine will have 6 years. I think after 6 years it makes sense that it's getting old. It's getting obsolete. I can't even play Marvel Rivals. My god, when it came out I really wanted to play it and try it, and I couldn't. Because this computer is too old. The graphics card doesn't even get any more updates and doesn't support DirectX 12. So I couldn't even load the game. That was disappointing. So now I'm getting this new computer, and after having spent the money, because I never want to spend money, you know me. After that, I finally started getting a bit excited. Today I finally got my, because some pieces are coming all out, on different times. Today I've got my SSD, 1TB, and the CPU cooler. And now I'm waiting for the case and, the whole other bunch of stuff. RAM, CPU, motherboard, graphics card, and that one piece, I don't remember which piece it is. The one piece I forgot about. So, hopefully I'll get it very soon. But here's the problem. Transferring from this old computer to the new one might take me some time, and in the meantime I might not be able to upload. Now I'm trying, recording this podcast episode for this week, and I'll probably try to record next week's episode this week as well, so I can maybe schedule it and at least the podcasts are covered. Because there is a decent chance, I can still use this old computer while I wait for the pieces to come in and while I wait to assemble the new PC. Yes, obviously, but I need the monitor. So if I need to move the monitor, that means, once I prepare the new computer and format it, I'm gonna have to re-download everything on that one. I'm not gonna, move the monitor around multiple times. No way. I don't feel like doing that. So yeah, I need to back up everything that I can. I need to try and get next week's podcast recorded now as well, if I can. And soon I'll be with the new computer. Hopefully it will be so much smoother with everything, will be much nicer. You'll tell the difference probably, because after that I will be able to do more demanding games, can bring more demanding games on the channel for my gameplays. And even the stock footage I put, you might have noticed these Dragon Quest videos I have, sometimes they stutter a little bit. That's 100% gonna be fixed with the new graphics card, with the new system. It's all gonna be so much better. The CPU is so much stronger, so much more recent, So yeah, I'm expecting everything to be a lot higher quality with that. And then I can bring you better games. I can bring you Minecraft. And I'll be able to run it at 20 FPS even. Because Minecraft always takes a lot of VRAM, or at least it feels like that. With this computer, Minecraft sometimes gives me trouble, but with the new computer, I will ironically be able to finally bring you Minecraft. Yeah, I'll probably bring it modded if I decide to, but I kinda still wanna finish that Return to Bloody Night series. I'm not too sure what's gonna happen. The problem as always is having time. So maybe I'll finish it, maybe I'll interrupt it. I'm gonna be honest, it doesn't seem like it's gonna be missed that much, and it was my first series. I can do things better on a new one. But for that, I guess you'll just have to, keep checking out my channel and keep updated and see what happens. Now, for this episode, we're almost done. But there was one last thing I wanted to tell you, one last story. See, because I had to change gym this, last week technically. I changed gym I'm not gonna tell you the reason. It's kind of stupid. It's kind of a long story, whatever. But I'm in this new gym, right? And it's the first time I'm there. There's less space to work out than the previous one, but there's also less people, so I think overall it's a little better. There was this pile of like iron thingies, I'm not sure what they were. I think like huge safety things you can put under the power racks, like on the racks, so that if you drop the weight, it drops on top of the security thing and not on the floor or on you. I'm not too sure, but there were metal things. So there was very little space and a guy needed to get by. So I moved to the side and I needed to push the thingies to make space for me to walk. So then I was like, okay, I'll just push it with my foot, whatever. But I didn't notice that one of those things was in a very precarious equilibrium, like very precarious balance. Yes, balance, not equilibrium. And pushing it kind of fell on my toe. And it hurt a lot. Not like crazy, but it hurt. And I was like, okay, I'll keep working out. I'm sure it's not the end of the world. Then later on, I was on a Discord call and I was with my friend. And obviously my toe was hurting. And that's when, I had the thought, oh my god, what if it swells? And if it swells, am I gonna lose my toenail? Oh my god. And I started panicking. So I tell my friend, and he's like, Dr. True, don't worry, it's just, it's just a toenail, it's gonna fall off. Yeah, probably it's gonna fall off, but it's not the end of the world, it happens to me many times. I was like, oh no, I don't want it to fall, He's like, what's the problem? It doesn't even hurt that much. Oh, but what if it grows weird and it like regrows inside my toe and then it gets infected and I get ingrown nail and it's bad? And he was like, no, that's probably not gonna happen. It's not gonna happen. And yeah, I was like worried. And so I put some ice on it and I just was like, okay, I hope it doesn't happen. Then the day after, I still had the toenail, but it got black. Like it was black as in, like when you bump really hard into something. But I was like, hey, it doesn't even hurt that much. Probably it's gonna be fine. And then the day after, I still have it on. And so it's been a few days, and I can proudly tell you, I'm on day 5 of my streak of not losing my toenail. Yeah, I know I'm pretty good. And it's pretty good streak, I know. But yeah, toenail story. Yes, this is gonna be the title of the podcast. The toenail story. It's probably not. It's probably not gonna be the title. But at least you got your daily story. I mean, let's be real, guys. We talked about Crash Bandicoot 2, so you did get stories. You did get stories about me playing PlayStation 1 games and then PlayStation 2 games and deleting my brother's save files. Maybe that should be the title of the episode. In any case, that's the end. That's the end of the episode. That's it. Finished. No more episode. I want to remind you that I upload this on Spotify as well. So go have a look, follow me on Spotify as well. It's Dr. True. And what else? I mean, the link for Spotify is in my channel bio as well, if I remember right. If not, let me know. But that's it. Yeah. Please, if you like this episode, obviously put like on the channel, subscribe and stuff, but also share it. I really need the episode to be shared. If you got any friends that you think might enjoy this, share it with them. If you got any friends that you think might hate this, share it as a prank. Prank them with TrueCast, which they will hate. Or maybe you think they'll hate it, but they'll love it. Who knows? But you can only know that by sharing it. Like I said before, that's the end of the podcast. I'll see you the next episode.